Tonight, I wanted to talk again about Samantabhadra. I gave a talk to Zen West on Thursday night and was aware as I was giving that talk that I hadn't quite zeroed in the way I wanted to. So I'm going to try it again tonight. Samantabhadra is a figure that we don't actually hear that much about. And I think it's worth beginning a close study, since Samantabhadra is the Bodhisattva of great enlightening activity, which is really all about how we live the Dharma. This practice is useless unless it begins to inform how we live in a way that is generous, kind, and wise. How we use our life energy. So Samantabhadra is an archetype. The whole idea of archetypal mind is really important to realize, to be aware of in our own mental realm. Buddha is an archetype. Any image that is very pure and powerful about how we live embodied is an archetype. And there are a number of archetypes that embody the various qualities of awakened mind and flavor the dream of this life. The dream mind is always present in this moment. The archetypal mind is always part of the mind stream. Though it may lurk hidden from view, the archetypal themes are infinitely flexible in how we experience them and how they get expressed actually moment by moment and show up for us. And they're integrated into the flow of experience. They inform, they color, they shape experience and our response to it. So inspiring leaders, tyrants, movie stars, saints, these are all archetypal manifestations in some particular form. And when we're getting to know our own mind better and better, we can really spot how some archetypes are particularly important to us. We respond to them, we're inspired by them. It's important when working with this material to remember the nature of archetype. The Bodhisattva archetypes in our tradition are a representation of certain intentions and energies that inhere in us, that we practice with, that we identify with and aspire to. They motivate us. And when we're talking about archetypes, we're using a word, right? A word that points to awakened qualities of our own minds. So not to think of Samantabhadra or Manjushri or any of the archetypes as something outside of ourself. So, one of the archetypes is Manjushri Bodhisattva, the embodiment of great wisdom. There's Avalokiteshvara, the embodiment of great compassion. Kshitigarbha, the Bodhisattva of great vow. These are all important to work with actively in our life of practice in order to realize and manifest it, in order to realize our full offering in this life, what we are best suited to offer and to do it. The archetype that we'll explore tonight is Samantabhadra, the Bodhisattva of great activity. It's less often mentioned, but it's extremely important. So, Bodhisattva of great enlightening activity. What is great enlightening activity? How does this manifest in our own direct experience? What conditions in your own life draws it forth. What do you know of great enlightening activity? And one way that we can approach a question like this is, well, what wakes me up? What wakes you up? What gets your attention? What gets your full commitment? Enlightening. What frees us? What is enlightening? Whatever frees us from all of the things that diminish our ability to offer our gifts, our full warm heart, our intelligence, our creativity, anything that we have to offer is awakened in a practice such as the practice that we do. It frees us to give fully. So this archetype is all about how enlightenment functions in activity, in the activities of our life. How we wake up, what helps us, how our activity itself expresses awakened wisdom. Though sitting still in silent meditation is a potent wellspring for awakening and taps a source from deep within the ground of our being and helps us become more and more comfortable with every quality of experience so that we don't shy away from our various energies, but we learn how to align with them in a way that helps them be a contribution to the well-being of all of life. So even though seated meditation is potent and essential, most of our life is we're engaged in activity. We take action. We're talking to coworkers, children, neighbors, Sangha members, writing letters, grocery shopping, building fences, fixing broken implements, voting, painting, writing, cooking, gardening, saying hello and saying goodbye. These are all the ordinary actions of daily life. So Samantabhadra is all about being awake in these activities, awakening to how can they be fully vital expressions of awakeness, of awakened mind, of liberating mind. Samantabhadra's name means universal virtue. Virtue isn't a word that we use very much these days, virtue. But it points to a quality that is particularly potent and beneficial. Though an archetype is not encountered directly in the usual sense. It's not a thing or an emotion or even a thought. But its virtue, the virtue of this universal virtue, Samantabhadra, is its authenticity, its vitality, its realness, its activity, it's how it resonates. Samantabhadra points to the cosmos aware of itself in action, in activity, the light that shines in all forms and details of ordinary life. In the early times of Buddhism, it was said that even to hear the name Samantabhadra is auspicious. Universal virtue. It has a vast quality to it, universal beneficial functioning. So Samantabhadra helps us to remember and to notice how wisdom functions, how we encounter the functioning of wisdom in all of the 10,000 things of our life. And this is parallels the sense of the sacred, actually, doesn't it? Noticing great value in everything, great vitality. Even really difficult things that happen to us are real, and they have real consequences that can, in a life of practice, if we practice with them, if we bring the mind of great activity, great wisdom, great compassion, we can respond to even very difficult circumstances in a way that benefits us and others. This is always a possibility. The iconography of Samantabhadra is particularly wonderful. He, she, they are seated on a lotus. They have a very serene face. The body is upright, balanced, sitting comfortably on top of an elephant. The face of Samantabhadra is serene. I don't know if any of you have ever sat on the top of an elephant, but imagine the deep ease and alignment that it would take to sit with such serenity on top of an elephant. So this image reminds us right away of how to practice. This ever deepening practice of constancy, intelligence, creativity brings serenity into our moments as we sit on the elephant of our life, this great beast. So that the elephant in this image, and you can go online and see, there are all kinds of different images. Some of them are kind of funny, actually. Some of them are more serious. There's one image that I came across where the elephant was really old, and other times it looks quite young and at the ready. But we're always functioning, no matter how old or young we are. Anyway, this elephant has 6 tusks. And that's when you see a 6-tusked elephant in an image, in a Buddha image, you know this is Samantabhadra. And these tusks are said to represent one of several things. First of all, the 6 realms of existence. So the human, Deva, the jealous gods, the hungry ghosts, the hell realms, the animal realm. Different, distinct mind states that we all cycle through at various times in our life and sometimes get quite stuck in one of them. Or these tusks can be the first 6 of the paramitas, because originally there were 6 paramitas and then the Mahayana increased that to 10 paramitas. But the 6 are generosity, morality, patience, effort, right effort, concentration, and wisdom. Or they also sometimes are said to be representative of the purification of the 6 senses. So we can work with all of these as possibilities. And one lovely practice is to take one of the archetypes and look at the image and really uncover what each element in the image, what is the teaching in each element of the image. And this is particularly available to us in this representation. But so at the time that these bodhisattvas were first graphically expressed in form in the sutras, and Samantabhadra turns up in the Lotus Sutra, and also in the I'm blanking it out right now. One of the other sutras. Anyway, It was in a culture that knew elephants intimately, actually, in India. They were part of the daily round of work and instrumental in many important community tasks. To us, the elephant is a much more distant and exotic animal in the zoo or in the circus. But for those who lived and worked with them, they were companions who were known to be smart, emotional, self-aware, and highly social creatures. Very compassionate creatures, very smart, quite sentient. So we look at this image and we don't necessarily immediately have access to all of its significance. But we know that to those who know elephants in their daily round, they had companions in work who were a whole lot more sentient than a deer tractor is or a supercomputer. These elephants did a lot of work in the days when they were first set out as the image. The traditional pictures, the elephant, in the traditional pictures, the elephant, under each step that it takes, a lotus blooms. A lotus springs forth in each step. And this is a lovely image for how each step of our life can be a sacred act. The full life of each activity can come forth if we're awake and inspired to use our daily life energy to serve the needs of the community, to serve the greater good. Then continuing with the image of Samantabhadra, in his hand he holds one of several images, several objects. And the first is a lotus. And lotuses, again, we don't have firsthand experience with lotuses in this culture, but they grow out of the mud, just as we grow out of the mud, out of the earth, out of all the muck and detritus of past lives, all of the difficulties we grow forth from them. So what is not formed, what is the general mash of life? Each of our individual manifestations come forth in our sparkling glory. And we can open fully into our incarnation. This is our possibility, all of us, each of us, in our own particular form. And one of the characteristics of Samantabhadra is great beauty. And we can know that each of us is so beautiful in our own uniqueness. Another object sometimes held by Samantabhadra is a wish-fulfilling jewel. And we can make of this that we are assured of ripening into full liberation with sustained practice. This is a wish-fulfilling jewel, this practice that we have. We have this wish, this Bodhi mind, the wish that comes with Bodhi mind, a mind that can be awake to itself for the sake of all beings. And then the next object could be a sutra scroll, which suggests how important it is to study the ancestors' teachings, as well as to respect our own experience that teaches us what is written on the scroll of our own life, to approach the course of life as a course in the study of our own life and possibilities. No matter how old we are, we continue learning. And this takes an attitude of openness and flexibility and resilience and faith, great faith. And then the last object is a teaching staff, which really says that we all teach each other. Our wholehearted practice brings forth a way of living that is a model for others, that teaches others, that helps others. And with our own freedom, growing inner freedom, comes a responsibility to offer this. We call it offering the merits of our practice to all those in the world who share this world with us, who share this life with us. Samantabhadra is known particularly for 10 vows. These vows point us to the archetypal qualities that are embodied in taking action in the world, that mark our action in the world, and help us remember our own vows and become aware of them. And all the circumstances in our lives that spurred us to get here in this moment together. Early on, all of us made vows. As children or youngsters, we don't even realize at the time just how important our decisions, our intentions, our promises to ourselves, how important they are to shaping our life. Even after, and they continue to function even long after our conscious mind has forgotten all about them. So this is the hidden quality of Samantabhadra, the hidden goodness, functioning outside of immediate awareness. We are aware of so little, even those of us who practice awareness. There is infinite activity in the universe that is affecting us at all times. So we lose track of some of our own vows. We make positive vows, like I'm going to be a really good cook. That was one of my early ones. We make negative vows. I'm never going to say that to my own child. Might be a negative vow. One of my early vows was to become wise. That was always something I wanted to be. I wanted to be wise so that I could really understand and get out of the suffering of my family, even though I didn't know what that meant exactly. But a child only knows the world that it is born into and knows when there's not a fit. So for me, I knew the disorder in my family, but it didn't match the love that I felt in my heart. So all of this vowing early on in life is not a conscious process. And it's not always misery that forms a vow. Sometimes it's great joy that forms a vow. But anyway, the spirit of a child is originally so whole, so entire and complete, that they don't think separate from, they don't think out. They don't live according to thought. They live according to the felt experience. So our vows that brought us here have very early roots and actually often go way back before our own life. We inherit them through our parents and grandparents and all of their experiences. In another talk, I'd like to go through the 10 vows of Samantabhadra one by one. Some of the qualities of those vows are veneration and humility, dignity, beauty, and the importance of offerings. So I'd like to talk just a little bit more tonight about the third vow, which is extensively cultivate and make offerings. practice generosity. And this is what we call dana, the spirit of generosity, the spirit of offering, which was extolled by the Buddha as the most important practice. Dana, generosity, where we offer our whole life to service, to benefit all of life. This is a really big vow. This is a great vow. It's the Bodhisattva vow. When we raise the Bodhi mind to awaken for the sake of all beings. And then we put this vow into every activity. Everything in our life is an offering. It is, whether we are aware of it or not, and whether we put it in service to a conscious vow. We receive, so there's offerings, and then there's receiving what we receive. And we receive the blessings of our life when we realize what's being offered us every moment. What is the gift? What's the opportunity here in this? Big and little. Whether it's clear or obscure, the vow points to this moment, the gifts of this moment, opening door after door of every ordinary day. There are many doors into the Buddha's home, and they all function when they open. Generosity flows from being open each moment to the possibilities that the moment offers. So what is my offering? What is your offering? How do we approach everything we do as an offering to the goodness of each moment? The spirit of Samantabhadra bringing so much goodness through the work in the world that we all do. Cultivating the spirit of generosity. Giving makes everything sacred and precious, not to be careless with or squandered. So we began with the question, what is great enlightening activity? We could say that it regards all activity as sacred. This life of work is where we put awakening into practice. So may this be so for all of us. May we have the joy of this kind of work in the world. Thank you.